We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many England football team captains since 1966 as they could. Richard, can you be more specific?
Yeah, this is any player who's been nominated as the official captain for any England match, competitive match or friendly, since the World Cup final in '66. Most importantly, these are people who were captains at the start of the game. So if someone got the armband halfway through due to an injury or substitution, that won't count.
OK, so Chris and Tony, you're going to kick us off. Chris?
I'll probably just go with Bobby Charlton, take the one at the start.
OK, go with Bobby Charlton. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Bobby Charlton. It's not bad. It's good, look at that. That means 17 of our 100 people said Bobby Charlton. That gives you a nice low score of 17. On to our next pair. Steve, what are you going to say?
Yeah, well, I hope I don't let Lee down here. I think David Seaman. David
Seaman. Let's hope you don't let Lee down. Let's see how many of our 100 people said David Seaman. It's correct. It's good. Oh, it's very good. That means that none of our 100 people said David Seaman, and that adds £250 to today's jackpot. Taking it up to £5,750. You didn't let Lee down at all. That was fantastic. Richard, David Seaman.
Yeah, a brilliant answer. Do you know how many times he was England captain, Steve?
It was only a couple.
Once. He was captain for a 4-0 win over Moldova in a World Cup qualifier, so a brilliant answer. Well done.
Fantastic. OK, on to our next pair. Martin, we are looking for England football team captains since 1966. What are you going to say?
I'm going to say Emlyn Hughes.
Emlyn Hughes. Very good. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Emlyn Hughes. It's good. It's very good. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh. That, of course, means that only one of our 100 people said Emlyn Hughes. That gives Martin and Liz a lovely low score of 1. Matt and Emily. Matt, what are you going to give me?
Don't really think about 3 people that have ever played for England, so I'll
go for one of them.
David Beckham. I don't know.
OK, David Beckham, of course. Remember, we are looking for obscure answers here.
Yeah.
Let's see how many of our 100 people said David Beckham. Well, it could have been worse. That means 70 of our 100 people said David Beckham. That gives you a high score of 70. OK, well, we are halfway through the round. Let's see how we're doing on the scores. Obviously, Steve and Lee are looking very, very strong there with 0. You keep up that low scoring, you're definitely through to the next round. I'm afraid things are looking less promising for Emily and Matt, a worryingly high score of 70 there. You've just got to try and find a pointless answer on the next pass and hope everyone else scores as high as they possibly can. OK, we're going to come back down the line. Will the second players please take their places at the podium? We are looking for England football team captains since 1966, Emily. You are currently our high scorers on 70, so you've got to try and find a really obscure answer.
I'm just going to have to say and hope Gary Lineker.
Let's see how many of our 100 people said Gary Lineker. It's not bad. That means that 13 of our 100 people said Gary Lineker. That takes your total up to 83. That wasn't bad. And Emily, you see, you took a punt there.
Yeah, it was just
That was a
luck.
really good score.
Thank you.
No, you did very well. It paid off. You are, of course, our high scorers on 83, but that could all change. On to our next pair, Liz. You are currently on 1, a lovely low score. You are 82 points behind Emily and Matt. If you want to avoid becoming the high scorers, you have to score 81 or less. So what are you going to give us?
Steve Gerrard.
If Steven Gerrard is a correct answer, you've got to hope it comes in below that red line, otherwise you become our high scorers. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Steven Gerrard. It's good. It's below the line. Very good. That means that 12 of our 100 people said Steven Gerrard. That takes your total up to 13. You're definitely through to the next round. Okay, Lee, we are looking for England football team captain since 1966. You are our current low scorers on 0. To avoid becoming the high scorers, you have to score 82 or less.
I'm going to take a stab at Mick Mills.
You're going to go with Mick Mills. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Mick Mills. It's good. It's going to be very good. Look at that. That means only 3 of our 100 people said Mick Mills. That takes your total score up to 3. A fantastic low score. You are definitely through to the next round. OK, we are looking for England football team captain since 1966. Tony, your score is 17. To avoid becoming the high scorers and being eliminated from the game, you have to score 65 or less. What's it going to be?
Tony Adams.
Tony Adams. OK, for Emily and Matt, you've got to hope this is a very high score, or you are out of the game. There is the red line. You've got to hope, Tony, that Tony Adams takes you below that red line. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Tony Adams. It's good. Very good. Yeah. That means that 6 of our 100 people said Tony Adams. That takes your total up to 23. So, at the end of round 2, the losing pair with the highest score, I'm afraid, is Emily and Matt. Bad luck, guys. That was a tough category for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, bad for me. I was going to go with Gerrard. That was my option, him or Beckham.
Oh, dear.
I don't know which one I should have picked.
But, Emily, Gary Lineker, that was a great call. I thought that was going to be enough to get you out of trouble.
It was just a good guess. I was lucky, but not lucky enough to stay, so...
Well, bad luck. A fabulous guess. Well, Richard, what answer should they have gone for if they wanted to stay on?
Well, there are actually 12 pointless answers. There have been 12 pointless England captains since the World Cup final. We'll take a look at a few of them. Alan Ball was captain. David Seaman, which of course we had, which was a great answer. Phil Thompson, the Liverpool defender, was captain. Martin Peters, who scored in the 66 World Cup final, was captain in the early 70s. Sol Campbell was captain for 3 games. And even lovely little Peter Beardsley had a little turn. They gave him a turn, I think. David Watson, Jerry Francis, the Silver Fox, and Martin Keown. Again, they're all central defenders, these guys. No one's interested in that, but they are. Mick Shannon of the Super Saints, Phil Neal of Liverpool, and Trevor Cherry, who I think is probably the most obscure of all, another towering central defender who no one remembers. The worst possible answer you can give, it'll be no surprise, Matt. So the worst answer you could possibly give would have been David Beckham. The next person would have been, of course, Bobby Moore, who was captain for the 66 World Cup final and for years afterwards. And the third one of the most recent ones, John Terry, would have been the third most obvious answer.
Thanks, Richard. Emily and Matt, this was your second and final chance on the show. Sadly, you just didn't have that pointless football knowledge you needed to get through to the final. So we do have to say goodbye, but thanks so much for playing. Thank you. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many England World Cup squads since 2000 as they could. England World Cup squads since 2000. Richard.
Yeah, we're looking for any player who was in the final World Cup squad for the 2002, 2006 or 2010 World Cups. Any player who was in the final squad. They didn't actually have to play in the World Cup finals because some players don't, but anyone who was in any of those 3 squads, please.
OK, thank you very much, Richard. Now, Elaine and Denise, you all drew lots before the show, and this afternoon you get to go first. So, Elaine, you are the first person to answer this brilliant question. I think you know all of the squads since 2000. It's just a matter of picking a nice obscure name.
It's not very obscure. Frank Lampard.
Frank Lampard. You're going to go for
Not
Frank
great.
Lampard. OK, let's see if that's right. If it is, let's see how many people said Frank Lampard. It's right. 41. 41 for Frank Lampard. Richard?
Yeah, well done, Elaine. If it's a tough category for you, it's all about damage limitation. He played it every minute of the 2006 campaign and was also there in 2010. Famously, he scored that goal that never was against Germany.
Indeed.
Didn't he? We would have only lost sort of 7-2 if that had gone in.
Yeah. So then, Lucy, we come to you. We are looking for players in England's FIFA World Cup squad since 2000.
Well, this is possibly the worst thing that could have possibly come up.
Do you follow football at all?
No.
even vaguely? I mean, are you sort of
No.
dimly aware of...
I'm aware of the World Cup.
Yeah.
That's probably as far as it stretches. I will go for Emil Heskey.
Emil Heskey. You've pulled a 9-pointer out of the hat there. Emil Heskey, let's see if that's right. If it is, let's see how many people said Emil Heskey. Very well done, Lucy. Down it goes. 11. That's a great answer. Emil Heskey, Richard.
Yeah, well played, Lucy. Played in 2002, 2010. I didn't think she was going to say that, did you?
No.
I said, I know nothing. I thought you were going to say Sir Bobby Charlton. That's a good answer. Where did Emil Heskey come from? I don't mean...
I just thought that was quite an obvious one. I only know about 3, and that was one of them.
Done
Good
very
one to
well.
know. Yeah.
Very well done, Lucy. So, Juanita.
Well, I'm so
Juanita.
glad Lucy knew 3 because I only know 1. And it's going to be an early bath for me, I'm afraid, this time. The only England football player whose name I could tell you is David Beckham.
David Beckham.
The only one I know.
OK, well, David Beckham. Let's see if that's right. You're hoping to score as few points as possible with David Beckham. Let's see if he's right, and if it is, let's see how many people said him. David Beckham. 63. Not bad. 37 better than 100. Richard.
Yeah, again, you know, it's not 100. The only England player to score in 3 World Cups, David Beckham.
Now then, Nick, we come to you. So remember, we're looking for England players in any of the England World Cup squads since 2000.
I'll go for Neville, Gary Neville.
Gary Neville. You are saying Gary Neville. Let's see if that's right. And if it is, let's see how many people said Gary Neville. 12 for Gary Neville. Richard.
Yeah, good answer. Played in 98, but also played in 2006. So a correct answer here.
OK, well, we're halfway through the round, so let's take a look at the scores. Well, she said it was the worst possible subject for her. She then scored the best score in the past. Lucy, that's wonderful. Score of 11. Then up 1 to Nick and Paul on 12. Then up to 41 for Elaine and Denise. And then 63, Juanita and Cheryl. So on the next pass, really, it's between Denise and Cheryl. We're going to have to tussle out to see who can score the lowest. OK, we're going to come back down the line. Can the second players please take their places at the podium? OK, we are looking for players in England's FIFA World Cup squad since 2000. Paul. Nick did pretty well there with Gary Neville. The high scorers on 63 are Juanita and Cheryl. If you can score 50 or less with this answer, you are through to the next round. I'm guessing this might be quite a good subject for you.
Not really. I don't really
Really?
watch much football.
Really?
Yeah. Let's think. I feel quite stupid now. OK, I'll go with Phil Neville.
Phil Neville.
Yeah.
OK. You're going to go Phil Neville.
Yeah.
Here is your red line. If Phil Neville gets you below that red line, you are definitely through to the next round. Let's see. Phil Neville, is it right? How many people said it?
Oh, no.
Bad luck, Paul. I'm afraid Phil Neville is an incorrect answer, which means you score the maximum of 100 points. That takes your total up to 112. Richard.
That's really unlucky, Paul. He was sort of in contention for all 3 squads, but never made it into any of them. Phil and Gary Neville hold a record for England appearances by brothers, so they beat the Charltons by 1 cap. But Phil Neville hadn't played in 2002, 2006 or 2010, I'm afraid.
OK, bad luck, Paul. So, Cheryl, you've been thrown a lifeline by Paul there. Paul and Nick are the current high scorers on 112. If you can score 48 or less with this answer, you are through to the next round.
The last time I watched football, Gordon Banks was in goal for England. I mean, that's how long ago that was. The only name I can think of is Ashley Cole.
Let's see how many people said Ashley Cole. There we are, Cheryl. Well done, you. You've done it. Very, very good. Scores you 31, takes your total up to 94. Richard?
Yeah, played in all 3 of those World Cups. He's a distant relation of Mariah Carey.
He's a distant relation of Mariah Carey?
Yep.
I never knew that.
Did you not?
Did anyone else know that? Did you know that?
No.
Well, he is.
Are they like sort of half brothers-in-law?
Yeah, they're half brothers-in-law, yeah.
No, it's not that close.
That's what they are. They're cousins, they're distant cousins.
Distant cousins. Anyway, there we are. Now then, Ali and Lucy, you are in a fantastic position. Doesn't matter what you say here, Ali. You are through to the next round. You'll never overtake Paul and Nick's high score of 112. Bearing that in mind, Ali, why not go out on a limb, see if you can find a pointless answer? There must be a pointless squad member.
There must be. I've got loads of footballers' names running around my head, and no one's mentioned a goalkeeper yet, I don't think, so I'm going to go for David James.
David James, you are saying. Well, as I said, you are through to the next round, whatever happens. So there's no red line for you. Let's see, David James. Is it right? How many people said it? David James. 20 for David James, perfectly decent score, takes your total up to 31.
Yeah, well played, Ali. He was actually the oldest player at the 2010 tournament, David James. He's 62.
Right, now then, Denise.
Oh, this
41.
isn't my subject.
It isn't?
Not really, no.
You are on 41. The high scorers remain Paul and Nick on 112. That means if you can score 70 or less,
Okay.
you are through to the next round.
I'm trying to remember when I've sat with my sons watching football. I'll try Teddy Sheringham.
Teddy Sheringham, you are saying. Teddy Sheringham. Let's see if that is right. And if it is, let's see how many people said Teddy Sheringham. It's right! And you are through. Look at that, Denise! The best score of the whole round. 2 points for Teddy Sheringham. Takes your total up to 43. Richard?
Yeah, well played, Denise. I think scored very, very low score because he was really reaching the end of his career in 2002, so people, I think, didn't realise he played then, and one of the pointless answers actually bears that out as well. There's only 4 pointless answers of all the names of anyone in those squads, so let's take a look, see how you did at home. Martin Keown played in 2002, the Arsenal defender. He was pointless. Danny Murphy, who was in the 2002 squad, withdrew from injury, now Fulham captain. See, Gareth Southgate was a pointless answer. Very famous, but I think people perhaps forgot that he was still around in 2002. And Kieran Dyer was also a pointless answer. Very well done if you said any of those 4 at home. Let's look at the top scorers, the ones that most people from our 100 said. John Terry on 43. Wayne Rooney on 61, and David Beckham up there on 63, the most popular answer of all.
Thank you very much, Richard. So, at the end of round 1, the losing pair with the highest score, Paul and Nick. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh, Phil Neville.
Not a lot I can say about that, really, is there?
Yeah, that's a shame.
I'll never live it down.
A great shame. We have to say goodbye to you now, but we will see you again next time.
OK.
Very best of luck then. I'm sure you will go further than round 1. Meantime, thanks very much for playing. Great contest. Right. Our round 2 question this afternoon concerns home grounds and their teams. Home grounds and their teams. In this round, we're about to show you a list of home grounds of Premiership football clubs. We asked 100 people to tell us which teams play at each of those grounds. Richard?
Yeah, we're going to show you 6 grounds in each pass. You've just got to tell us which team plays there at in the 2010-2011 season. The more obscure ones will score you fewer points. If you give us an incorrect answer, the wrong team for the wrong ground, you'll score 100 points. And see how many of the 12 you can get at home.
Very good. So we are looking for the teams that play at these grounds. And we have got Emirates Stadium, Bloomfield Road, St James's Park, Stamford Bridge, Craven Cottage, Old Trafford. Let me read those again. Emirates Stadium, Bloomfield Road, St James's Park, Stamford Bridge, Craven Cottage, Old Trafford. OK, Trevor,
I know at least 5 of them. So there's one there that's I'm not going to go for because I'm not quite sure. I'll go for Craven Cottage, and that's the ground for Fulham.
The ground for Fulham. Let's see if that's right, and if it is, let's see how many people said Fulham for Craven Cottage. Well done, Trevor, it's right. 32. 32 for Craven Cottage. Richard?
Yeah, well played, Trevor. I'm a season ticket holder at Fulham, so I'm always at
you are.
Craven Cottage.
Yeah.
It's an absolutely lovely ground.
Michael, now you are quite a football fan, something tells me.
Yes, I'm an avid Oxford United fan. Again, a season ticket holder for the grassroots football.
Very good, but that doesn't necessarily stop you from knowing about Premier League football.
No, absolutely. I'm quite happy with all of these answers. So I'm going to go for Bloomfield Road, and that is Blackpool.
Bloomfield Road, Blackpool. Let's see if that's right, and if it is, let's see how many people knew that answer. It's right. Very well done. 18, Michael. That's a great score. 18 for Bloomfield Road.
Yeah, well played, Michael. It's the smallest ground in the current Premiership, only 16,000. I've been to your ground, Oxford United. Has it still only got 3 sides?
Still only got 3 sides, yeah.
I met the chairman there, said, I will put another side on this stadium when more of you start turning up. And he said, and until then, I'm just going to leave it.
Well, it's because we were playing Fulham. They said, oh, they don't bring many, so we'll leave it as it is.
Thanks, Richard. Adam, remember, we are looking for the teams that play at these grounds.
Emirates Stadium, Stamford Bridge or Old Trafford. I think they're probably the 3.
You're allowed to say what they belong to. We're not going to hold you to
Arsenal,
those.
Chelsea and Manchester United. I think they're the 3 that people would know. I would have loved to have said Blackpool, but I'm going to have to say Newcastle United at St James's Park.
St James's Park, of course, Newcastle United. Let's see how many people knew that answer. It's right. Down it comes, 29. Not a bad answer at all, Adam. St James's Park, Richard.
Yeah, well played, everybody there. You picked off the best 3 answers on the board. St James's Park is the home of Newcastle, also of Exeter, but they're not in the Premiership. Old Trafford is, of course, Manchester United, but would have scored you 74 points. Stamford Bridge is Chelsea, of course, 50 points, and the Emirates is Arsenal. That's 51 points, a fantastic 51-50 win for Arsenal over Chelsea there.
Thanks very much, Richard. OK, well, we're halfway through the round, so let's take a look at the scores as they stand at this point. 18 for Michael and Wayne. That was a very well-judged answer. Then we come to Adam and Laura on 29, and then Trevor and Isabel not very far ahead. I mean, it's a pretty close grouping there. OK, we're going to come back down the line. Can the second players please take their places at the podium? OK, we're going to put 6 more home grounds on the board, and we have got Boleyn Ground, White Hart Lane, Anfield, Goodison Park, Stadium of Light, the Hawthorns. Boleyn Ground, White Hart Lane, Anfield, Goodison Park, Stadium of Light, the Hawthorns. And remember, we are looking for the teams that play at those grounds, and you're trying to find the one that the fewest of our 100 people knew. Now, Laura.
Right, well, there's only 2 on there that I recognise, and there's only 1 on there that I could say which team played, so I'm going to have to go with Anfield and Liverpool.
You want to score as low as you possibly can with Anfield and Liverpool. There is your red line there. If you get below that, I will be very impressed by your choice, and you will be through to the head-to-head. OK, let's see how many people said Anfield, Liverpool. Very well done. 60. Very popular answer, that, Laura, but it is unmistakably correct. So that is good. It's better than 100. Takes your total up to 89. Richard?
Yeah, Anfield has been there ever since the beginning of the Football League in 1888.
Right, Wayne. If you can score 70 points or less with this, you are definitely in the head-to-head. What are you thinking about that board?
OK, there was 2 I knew. 1 is gone, so I'm going to say the only one that I know. The Stadium of Light is Sunderland.
Stadium of Light, Sunderland. There's your red line. If the Stadium of Light gets you below that red line, you are through. Let's see if it's right, and if it is, let's see how many people said Sunderland for the Stadium of Light. There it is. Well done, you're in the head-to-head, Wayne. That was a brilliant answer. 25. Very good. Takes your total up to 43. Richard.
Well played, Wayne. They moved there from Roker Park in 1997.
Very, very good. A great answer there, Wayne. Now then, Isabel.
Is it time to call the taxi, do you think?
Well, get the Koto. No. I'll get me Koto. Now then, our high scorers are Laura and Adam on 89. If you can score 56 points or less with this answer, you are in the head-to-head.
Right. I'm going to have a guess at White Hart Lane is Tottenham Hotspur.
White Hart Lane, Tottenham Hotspur. There is your red line. Let's see if White Hart Lane is correct for Spurs, and if it is, let's see if it gets you through to the head-to-head. Good luck. How many people said White Hart Lane, Tottenham Hotspur? It's right. Yes, it's done it! Look at that, 43. Very, very well done, Isabel. Very good. That takes your total up to 75. Richard.
Yeah, brilliant, Isabel. Very, very well done. You should have seen the look on Trevor's face when he said Tottenham Hotspur. The pride. It looked like you just finished a marathon. He's absolutely delighted. That's a brilliant answer and well-deserved through to the next round. Let's take a look at the rest of them. Goodison Park is, of course, Everton. That would have scored you 33. The Hawthorns is West Bromwich Albion. Would have scored you 19. Now, the Boleyn Ground is a tricky one, so well done if you got it at home. It's actually the official name of Upton Park, which is West Ham's ground. So Boleyn Ground is West Ham and would have scored you 11 points. That's the best answer on the board.
Thanks very much, Richard. So, at the end of round 2, the losing pair with the highest score, Laura and Adam. I'm sorry. Well, you know, you didn't get anything wrong.
Football's not really my strong point, to be honest. That was his thing.
What's your strong point, Laura?
Literature, I think.
Literature. Very good. Well, you'll be back next time, of course. Everyone gets 2 shots at the pointless final, and next time we'll see you. And maybe you will go even further. I do hope so. Been great having you on the show. Thanks so much for playing. Thank you.